Hi everybody. I think it's 4 p.m. so we will start the session. I hope everybody can hear me. Perfect. So welcome to today's session. As you may know, we are doing a Tractus Asia and Design Singapore Council has partnered to bring you this workshop. And as you know, Design Singapore Council is the national agency here in Singapore, which helps promote and develop the design community and industry here. And with that in mind, today's session is to look at Thailand as a market, which is full of opportunities and potential challenges that that Singaporean design firms could face. And we have an exciting lineup of experienced speakers from the Thai design industry who will bring their insights from the ground to discuss their experiences and also how potentially Singapore design firms should look at the market. So, but before we go to me introducing the speakers, I would just like to introduce myself. I'm Uday Panikkar. I'm the Singapore Country Manager for Tractus Asia, and we're a regional management consulting firm that has been helping companies enter and expand their presence in Southeast Asia for over 25 years. And just want to thank the Design Singapore Council for giving us this opportunity to work with them, and also to all the speakers here today for their time. Keeping in mind that everybody has only an hour for this session, and with the busy schedules and possibly Zoom fatigue, we want to make sure that everything is done within the hour. So just wanted to take everybody through a quick agenda for today. So just a few house rules. Only the speakers and presenters will have access to the video and audio. We'll have the session for 1 hour. Each speaker shall have 15 minutes each, and we'll conclude the session today with a 15-minute question and answer session for the audience, which will be done on Zoom chat. So please feel free to ask your questions on the question and answer chat feature in Zoom. And the Design Singapore Council has something called the Business of Design program, and specific information for Singaporean firms that want to get more information on that. And we will also be touching upon a few of the grants that Enterprise Singapore has for SMEs here who are looking to internationalize in the region. And we'll conclude with a small poll for everybody and go on to the question and answer session. So today's presentations will be brought to you by Kun Chutayaves Sinthuphan, Director of the Creative Economy Agency of Thailand, followed by Kun Sarinrath and Mr. Marijn, Beije, who is the founder of Lines Designworks. So I will introduce you to each speaker prior to their 15-minute presentation, and then we will have the final question and answer session at the end. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce Kun Chutayaves, who's an architect and an educator based in Bangkok for several years, and with a Master of Architecture from Columbia University and a Bachelor of Science in Architecture Technology from New York Institute of Technology. He's also currently the adjunct faculty at Chulalongkorn University's International Program of Design and Architecture. And he has been an associate professor previously with the New York Institute of Technology, as well as adjunct faculty at Thammasat Design School. And he has taught at various other universities such as Yale, Columbia, Pratt Institute, and the Parsons School of Design. Kun Chutayaves has he focuses on a research-led approach to design, and is the founder of several award-winning design practices and social enterprises such as Site-Specific Architecture and Research, Design for Disasters, and Fab Cafe Bangkok. So Kun Chutayaves, I think I will let you take the reins from here and give us a bit of an insight on Thailand in general from a design industry perspective. So please feel free to share your screen.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I hope you can see my screen just fine.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is going to be a very direct presentation. We're not going to be talking about design. We're basically going to talk about what you need to know about Thailand in order to target the market, the design market in Thailand. Basically, what we're going to be talking about is geography, creative industries, and market, because for the reasons that geography varies so much in Thailand, and us, as Thailand Creative and Design Center or Creative Economy Agency, we have centers in 3 regions at the moment, and we will have 4 eventually. And we have to do that because the geography is different, the culture is different in all different locations, and there are very specific needs in different regions. We're going to be talking about overall broad of what we see as creative industries in Thailand and how Singapore can actually enter Thai market. Geography, as we know, Thailand is divided into 5 regions. There's a central plain, there's the north, northeast, the east, and the south. In all these locations, we have currently TCDC in Bangkok, which is our headquarters for Creative Economy Agency. The second branch is TCDC in Chiang Mai. The 4th one is TCDC Khon Kaen, where I am currently headed at the moment. And then we will be opening TCDC in Songkhla in southern Thailand in 2022. Also, we will have a project called TCDC Common, which is a smaller version of TCDC in the east in about 3 years. If you look at our geography, you can see that Bangkok and the central plain is completely different from the mountainous north. And it's also, even though it's also a plain, but in the northeast it's actually a plateau. So Khon Kaen, it's right in the middle here, and that's where I'm sitting at the moment. In the north, our center is in Chiang Mai, which is a very popular tourist destination. Of course, Bangkok. And then we pick to locate our southern branch in Songkhla, which is just half an hour from Hat Yai. It's a capital of the province, even though it's smaller than Hat Yai itself. And this 4 location is picked specifically because a lot of them are center of this region. And also we pick them because they all offers very unique opportunities in different locations. For example, Bangkok is the center of the country. It's accepted that, Bangkok is both the capital, the trade capital, the financial capital, and also the port of the city. So Bangkok has become too big, and it's basically there's a specific requirements, for the Bangkok and the central plain itself. In the mountainous area in Chiang Mai, agriculture and of course the central plain, the industry, traditionally is more focused on agriculture as main industry, but now, being a developed country now, we do have a lot of heavy industries that's happening around Bangkok and the central plain area. In Chiang Mai, it's completely different because, agriculture were small farms, instead of large rice paddies. So traditionally, people have a lot more time. So it's known to be the region where all the crafts are, highly valued. Traditional design work, people spend hours and hours working on bamboo rods, to make baskets or to make furnitures. And, Chiang Mai, being the largest city in the north, also in the largest kind of like plain, you can see that it's kind of like light green around Chiang Mai. It's also kind of like there's a center for kind of like craft and craft industries. Also Khon Kaen is different. Khon Kaen is a relatively new city in terms of growth. Even though it was founded 200 years ago, Khon Kaen only grew about 60 years ago, and it grew because it decided that the Northeast region needs a center for government, and it was picked that Khon Kaen is center enough in the region, to go anywhere in the Northeast within a reasonable period of time by car, and it's also connected to Bangkok by rail in the old days and road. And so Khon Kaen kind of artificially grow very rapidly in the first 20 years or so that it was picked. And recently also it's become more of a trading post, that because of the connection between currently it's just the road, right? But then the east-west corridor and north-south corridor will all from China down into Rayong will also pass through Khon Kaen. And the south, of course, it's a peninsula and it's a port. And it's also mountainous, and its culture is completely different from the other location because there's very strongly tied to Malayu culture and Malaysia. And it's also create a unique setting. And all these different, graphic locations makes completely different sort of requirements and needs that a designer in different locations need. You can see this. I'm just taking a picture of showing the picture of basically agriculture in all different regions. This is the central plain. It's just flat. With of course some mountains anywhere, but it's still very flat. This is the north. It's mountainous agriculture area. Northeast, even though it's a plateau, so it's also pretty flat, but it's very arid and very dry because it's in the rain shadow most of the year. And the south, basically, it's the wettest, region in Thailand, and agriculture there, it's also different. So when we talk about creative industries, as you can see, this is the traditional sort of data when we talk about industries in Thailand, that even though it used to agriculture used to be the biggest numbers on this graph, now it's very different. It's that service industry has become the biggest income in Thailand, from tourism, from medicine, from just food and beverage in general. And then also heavy industries now play a major role. And you can see that agriculture has reduced quite significantly. Now it's less than 8% that agriculture is actually a part of our GDP. But so when we look at creative industries, we divided it into 15 different segments into 5 groups. One is called creative original, which basically talks about what we did, in the old days before we decide that before we thought of the word creative, right? So it's basically handicraft, music, traditional plays and performing arts, and also fine arts. And then the second group is called the content and media group. So basically there's film and television, broadcasting, printing, and then software industries. And the third one is creative services, which basically, that's what, when we talk about design, that's what people think of it originally, that it's, advertising, different sort of design, whether graphic design or, illustration and architecture. And the fourth group is creative goods and products. So in Thailand, it's mainly fashion industries. And one thing that is slightly different from other creative industries in different other countries, that the related industries is very important to us. First is food. Second is traditional Thai medicine, in parentheses, spa services. And then the last one in this 15 group is the culture tourism. As you can see that, we have TCDC in different branches, in different regions. Our focus in these regions are very different. In Bangkok, we talk about how design can improve lives, being, kind of like a very urban area, center of the country, big urban space. And, the main goal of that center is basically to talk about what can design do for you. In the Northeast, just like what I said before, we talk about crafts, and we've been talking about craft for the past 6 years. Northeast, we talk about potential of design culture. So basically, it's entertainment industries, music and film. It's food, being the largest producers of food sources in Thailand, the Northeast, and very unique kind of like food culture there. And the fourth one is the weaving industries, which grew up out of necessity. Isan culture is design in the Northeast tends to be doing things just enough. It wasn't doing things for the beauty. Unlike the Northeast region wouldn't be spending, a day trying to round the bamboo into the perfect strand. You try to make a basket, they would just cut up bamboo and weave it. And that would be kind of like the appreciation of doing things just enough and functional. And then in the South, we will be talking about creativity through heritage because of the idea of being multicultural zone. We want to talk about, kind of like different cultures, how the different cultures work together. And with all these different locations, we have created creative districts, right? A lot of them surrounding our center. Most of them, few of them are not. Like Chalerm Krung Creative District in Bangkok, it's basically the center is CCC Bangkok. And it has been very successful as a model to carry this creative district to try to find a way to apply some of the learning into Chiang Mai Creative District in the north, Sichan Creative District in Khon Kaen, where I am at the moment. But Sichan is actually not where TCDC is located. It's in the center of town where the old trade area used to be, but now that trade area is dying. And then in the south, in Songkhla, it's in the old town area where TCDC is just on the fringe of that district. So from the creative district, we also have an event to celebrate, the region. So basically, the Design Week and the Creative Festival is created so that each year, all the designers, all the creators, and TCDC itself are able to celebrate what we did last year. So Chiang Mai Design Week was our first Design Week, and it's been going on for 6 years. Bangkok Design Week will be held its 4th year event, which actually rescheduled about 4 months after it was supposed to open. Next month in May, in 2 months in May. And Isan Creative Festival will be the first festival in design festival in Isan. That will be held in July. And then Songkhla Creative Festival will be in August of next year after our centers open. So you can see, the image of our celebration, how people would come together and basically show what they've done in the past. Being kind of like the traditional design week, in Chiang Mai, where people come and gather in the region, in the city, and also Bangkok Design Week, where different issues of city life are discussed each year. Like the last year in 2020, we talk about resilience, and of course COVID came, and what we've learned, what we've done in the Design Week, some of it were able to adapt into this COVID situation this year. And for this year, we will talk about resurgence of possibilities. And so, if you can, I don't know if that will be open yet, but please join us in May if the borders open. But Isan Creative Festival is slightly different. Is that most design festival bring people into the city. Isan Creative Festival, as you can see, we use the name of the region rather than the city itself. We don't use the word design, and we use the word creative, and instead of we use the name festival because we want to be more open. Isan being a very big region and there's no real center, so we cannot call it Khon Kaen Design Week and expect that the people, everyone to come and receive it at the center of the region. So Isan Big Creative Festival is about coming to Khon Kaen, and then you go somewhere else. And that will be a different sort of design festival that will happen this year. So last issue, I think it's the most important, and that's why we're here. Market. If you want to work in Thailand, what should we be talking about? I think the main focus for design in Thailand for this next few years will be UN Sustainable Development Goal. And I think everyone knows this and everyone is trying to work on this somehow or another. But in Thailand, we've taken it quite seriously as a government policies and also as business policies. If you want to be if you are a business in the stock market in Thailand, you have to meet these goals. As you can see with the ranking, the top 10 sustainability goal winners are still European countries. Japan's doing pretty well, being number 17, which is the highest ranking for Asian country. Korea just not so far behind at number 20. Thailand is kind of like in the top third, the bottom of the top third at number 41 with 74.54 score. Singapore is still a bit down from there, but it's basically just a proof that Thailand, we're taking this thing quite seriously. But the strength in Thai market is that, and I think we all know that, somewhat already, is that our design creativities are quite strong. We do have a very strong handicraft productions, and we also have a very strong production in terms of mass production activities. What can Singapore offer? I think with Singapore's strength is in terms of financial, technologies, innovation, and research. And if a designer, a Singaporean designer wants to break into Thailand, I think it will be very, to meet the needs in most Thai companies is basically to bring the research-based innovation and technologies into a Thai market. And by doing that, you definitely be basically what was I going to say? And basically, technology innovation is the basic requirement of most Thai companies. I think, after all this presentation, I think Singapore have a very good setting to enter Thai market as a center of innovation in Asia now anyway. So I think I'll end my presentation here, and thank you.
Great, Kapun Kap, Khun Chutayaves. Thank you so much for those insights. It was really interesting to see how you divide Thailand into different geographies and the different opportunities and styles of designs or the cultural implications of that.
Sure.
So thank you so much for your time. And for everybody else, the attendees, if in case you missed it, Khun Chutayaves is the director of the Creative Economy Agency of Thailand, which works very closely with the Thailand Creative Design Center, the TCDC. So that was a great presentation, and thank you very much for giving us that general information. So our next speaker is Khun Sarinrath, who is principal at the Design Worldwide Partnership of Thailand, the DWP company. She joined DWP as a designer in 2004 before becoming a partner and also a creative director at the firm in 2006. She has an extensive experience in terms of her project portfolio with DWP, where it has ranged from her work with clients in the retail, hospitality, and healthcare sector, as well as the residential, community, and the workplace segments. Some of our major clients include HSBC, IBM, Cadbury's, and Johnson & Johnson. She has a Bachelor of Arts in Interior Design and a Master of Arts in Integrated Marketing from Emerson College in Boston, US. And she's also affiliated with the International Interior Design Association, as well as the American Institute of Architects. I hope that was a good brief description. Khun Sarinrath, I will give you the floor. Thank you so much.
Thanks. I'll start sharing my screen now.
Yes, please.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so why don't I just get started? I have a lot of slides, like I've mentioned earlier, but I'll go through each one of them quite quickly.
Sure.
So this is our location. So DWP, we are local but international. So we have a large office in Bangkok, and these are our other office locations. You've done my background, so that's done. Today with the Singapore Design Council, I just wanted to bring you some insight, useful tips for interior design, whether it be lifestyle, community, or work, and also collaborations that we've done in the past with foreigner and local design firms and suppliers, and opportunities moving forward for the Thai and Singapore market. So that's what I'll touch base on. So first and foremost, we wanted to understand the risk and uncertainty with the current situations of the pandemic. So each of these sectors have been affected due to the COVID pandemic that we've been over the past year. So in terms of residential, we're looking to realign the price, remodel products. Workplace obviously is turning to a huge change to reshape the future of the environment of the offices, and retail is going virtual, as you all know. Hotels are more focusing on guest experience, hygiene, sanitaries, and also refocusing on tenants. Industrial, resilient demand. And the market potential in Thailand for architectural and interior. So the strategy is to, build a green concept. So there's several certifications that you can get through the government. Partnership and mergers opportunities with international companies and branded. A lot of Japanese firms have moved into Thailand to partner with some of the real estate clients. And the actuals is just the cost benefits of trade-offs, direct access to opportunities, and the trade fair, and the key events industry in the ASEAN region. So the new normal in Thailand market, but I believe this goes the same to our Asia Pacific market as well. So in terms of landlords and developers, again, we're seeing a lot of global partnerships. We have a lot of semi-indoor, outdoor spaces, hygiene, cleanliness focused. Retails, we're seeing a lot of pop-ups and kiosks, shorter lease terms, smaller space required in e-commerce. For consumers, it's a lot of online presence and premium services in products at home. So convenience. Some of the design challenges is a lot of it has been due to social distancing. So physical distancing, circulations of patterns, and spatial context. This is some of the post-pandemic design solutions. The main ones are, health, hygiene, touchless experience. We're seeing a lot of the touchless equipment now. Work from anywhere, the IT of things, 5G is coming. Great outdoor experiences, and smart living. Some of our residential projects I'll show later, but these are the trends for the residential market. So homes is sanctuary, bringing a sense of comfort, stability, and solace. Flexibility and multi-purpose areas. We see less of fixed joinery and more of the loose furniture. Sustainability in materials, specifications, and a lot of natural inspired tones and coloring. So this is the elements that we see for the future homes and beyond. So multifunctional spaces, a lot of vintage and artsy decorations, bold printed wallpapers, spa grade bathrooms, and mini bar everywhere, Zoom rooms. Some of the elements that we've always put into our project now. So this is just to recap, to realign prices and expectations, targeted customer experience and new lifestyle. We're focusing now on low-rise housing developments, townhomes and single housing, outer skirt, not so much in the CBD. And then we have selective ultra market continues to perform for the super ultra luxury market. So these are the penthouses in the CBD areas, larger units. And the drawbacks is the foreign buyers, we still need them to sustain our real estate economy. So the product in the spotlight is, of course, ultra luxury, optimizing price, more functions and customizations. And then we have leaseback investment options. So real estate are giving more options in terms of investments to their customers now. Some of the ultra luxury and super luxury projects that we've done over the past year. So some of these are very recent. So we've done the Sinthuphan residence. This is house number 2. It was selling for $20 million US dollars, and following the pandemic, they've remaster planned the whole complex and made the floor plan or footprint much smaller, and they are selling it now for under 10 million US dollars. So these are the newer versions. So house number 5 is a newer version. As you can see, it graduates from the very deep and dark tone, more senior, sophisticated, mature, into something that's more young and fun, dynamic, open. So this is, you can say, the post-pandemic interior design for homes, more natural, neutral colors, but very fun and bold at the same time. This is another project that we've done. The architect is Fosters and Partners. We've been working with them from the office in London. So this is the Wisdom Forestia and Bang Na in Thailand. So a lot of very natural materials, semi-outdoor areas, fun spaces for the kids, communal area, flexible facilities. So this is another, so there's 3 towers altogether. This is the lobby of the 3rd tower, which is a pet-friendly apartment. So this is the show suite that was done and not yet officially launched, but has had some VIP previews over the past couple of months. Another project, this is in front of the Met on Sathon Road, 125 Sathon, a new developer. But again, you can see how we bring the natural lights into all of our spaces, a lot of garden areas. Again, the materialistic is very true to its nature, so a lot of timber use, marbles, and again, quite light, bright, and airy. A lot of facility spaces for the users, and this is the unit itself. Sales gallery will launch in a couple of months. This is Ashton Rama 4. It's very, they're looking for something that's very light and bright and neutral. Again, some of the new projects theme and trend moving forward. Salon and spa inside the apartment, some co-working spots. The next sector is hospitality. So hospitality, we have 2 things. One is guest focus and the other one is tenants focus. So we are seeing a lot of market for locals now, staycations, delay in hotel and apartment openings. We have 3 hotels that we've finished the design, but have not been opened yet due to the COVID. Increasing competition, so there's decreasing expats and travelers, and the rates have been very competitive, good for locals and staycations. And now, for tenants that are occupying the public areas, there's a discounted flexibility in contracts. We're not seeing a lot of renovations. We assume, we had thought mid of last year that there would be tons of hotels wanting to renovate, but that's not the case. We're seeing so far just some refreshments and upkeeping of the interior, but no major renovations. Perception of hygiene is very important. They're really looking at the M&E systems and how to flush the airflow, contactless, touchless equipment, multi-functionality social distancing facilities. This is a short video that I will skip, but I'll share the link with. So the ID trends for hotels, again, flexibility, use of space, circulations, integrating smart technologies, connectivities between indoor and outdoor through design, providing well building certified environments for specific spaces, and then educating consumers and guests. Some of our selective hotel projects that DWP has done over the past 2 years. This is W in Abu Dhabi, UAE. So a lot of outdoor spaces, private pods in the outdoor spaces, rooms with balcony and quite a spacious balcony with furnitures, interactive lobby. You can see the chandelier on the left side at the void. Those are LED boxes and it would come alive at night. So that's very fun. Flexible furniture. So these are modular seating that could be stacked and moved around. This is Hotel Chapter in Melbourne. It's next to a retail mall. So we have private retail servicing for premium customers on the side here. The bar, again, very bold colors, large printed artworks, but the room just keeping it very neutral and playing with some accent colors. This is Westin Hotel in Myanmar. So you can see the similar themes there with some of our residential projects as well. This is Moxie at Berdunam, a bit more fun and dynamic, but the rooms are quite regular and easy to maintain. In terms of workplace, we're looking to reshape the future of workplace with activity-based workplace and high-performance workplaces. Looking for a new workplace for the return of the post-pandemic. Flexibility. There will be a lot of upcoming office building supplies, which pressures the rental growth. And with the ABW and HPW model, you'll see a reduce in office space requirements for tenants. So this is some of the office dynamics, work from home, work during commute, cafe, satellite offices, meeting on demand, flexible spaces. And again, the usage of office space has decreased by 30%. So what we're seeing now is smaller office space. People are requesting more fully furnished office space, co-facility, and short-term rent cycle. This goes through with not only workplace, but also for commercial and education. So schools and retail, we feel are among these trends as well. So focus on well-being with a need for safe human connection, environmental transformation and technology is the critical factor here. Embracing the unconventional through creativity and strategic thinking, focusing on design, density, geometric, and division. So with the COVID workplace design, we also have to look at the spaces and social distancing. So it plays an important role to designers, whether it's working stations or lift lobbies, circulations, and corridors. And the change is obviously work from home has become the new normal. Companies are starting to give more freedom to their employees, reducing the risk of direct contact. Technology, as what we're doing now, webinar instead of a full conference, touchless equipment. Some of our selective workplace project, this is Google Office that we've done. So a lot of space for the staff, different areas. This is Diageo's office, which has won an award last year. Training facilities, this is K-Bank. So very bright, light, and open, no personal storage. Everything is locker-based, a lot of communal areas, and their canteen. I'll just touch base very quickly on healthcare and retail. So the trend of healthcare is, you know, a lot of indoor-outdoor connectivities, no walls. Hospitals are becoming more specialized, treating more sick patients during the who need longer stays. Outcome-based care. Patients, caregivers will demand more of their physical and virtual experiences. This is the Aspen Tree residence project that we've done. So it's a high care for senior aging society. Again, the design trends, you see bold prints, very natural color palette here that we've used. This is B Grimm's. It's a clinic that we're thinking, the client is thinking of rollout of, to all of their factories. So a new project that we've been doing. Another project is the, again, I'll share the link here. It's Raksa. We've done, this is a collaboration between Mankong Sansri, which is a large real estate developer, Bangkok Hospital, and Minor Group. It's a wellness center at Bangkok area. So this was just completed right before COVID hit. So they're not seeing a lot of expats or tourists coming in yet, but a lot of locals are using the facilities now. F&B area, fitness, this is the hydro. And in terms of retail, the outlook is again focusing on innovation. Retailers look to create a socially distanced experience using, you know, for cosmetics, using augmented reality to test automatic checkouts. Shifts in behaviors push for reform. So the stores are focusing more on helping, not just hard selling anymore. And then these are just the top 10 design trends for retails of 2021 and the future. So a lot of pop-ups that I've mentioned before, comforting, inviting home-like design in some of the retail stores, sophisticated and minimalist merchandising, technology-driven, and natural light, the use of natural light. So we're seeing a drop of retail of about 15% over the past almost 2 years, and it will just continue to drop as we're not through the pandemic yet. Singapore will surely leverage between its port and air hub facilities for immediate access to international markets, while Thailand taps into its culture for local crafts, design roots, which are well established, with pairing with the Singapore retailers in cross-border collaboration.
Sarinrath, thank you. I think we've reached our 20 minutes.
Yep, that was it.
Oh, perfect.
Yep.
Then perfect timing. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
No, thank you for giving us that, you know, how Thailand is refocusing when it comes to interior design across retail, care, residential, and the workplace segments. So thank you for giving us the insights on that and how DWP is working on those opportunities as well. So something for Singaporean design firms to also look at is how Thailand's consumer behavior is changing towards these, towards the, you know, interior design parts in these segments. So great insights. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So everybody, we're about to go to our final speaker. I would like to introduce you all to Mr. Marijn Beije. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm sure I did not, but I apologize. Mr. Marijn has been, he's the founder of Lines Designworks. He founded Lines Designworks in 2016 and has been operating internationally. So both being a Dutch national native, he's been working from both the Netherlands and Thailand. He has also been the former managing and creative director at Jacob Jensen Design, the Danish firm, at King Mongkut University Technologies School of Architecture and Design in Thailand, where he was involved in formulating their curriculum around design. He has been the recipient of several international design awards as well, including the Red Dot, Good Design, and the IF Product Design Award from Germany. He has a Bachelor of Design from the Design Academy in Eindhoven in the Netherlands. And I I would like to give the floor to Marijn so he can introduce himself and also Line's design work and give his insights in Thailand.
Thanks, Uday. You made me blush there a little bit. I will share my screen. All right. So, first of all, Chutayaves and Sarinrath, thank you very much for a very thorough, big picture overview of what's happening in the Thai creative sector at the moment. I'm going to try and give a little bit more of a very hands-on tips and tricks on how foreign creative agencies can make money in the Thai market, while keeping in mind a global audience. Now, some of my insights, or actually all of my insights, are from a Farang white boy point of view. And I'm an arrogant asshole on the best of days, so bear with me there. But I hope that after my 15 minutes, there's some key takeaways from what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna identify some trends in the current design market, some opportunities that we've identified for foreign agencies, how to navigate presenting creativity to Thai clients or working creatively with them. And then hopefully at the end, you're like, all right, that's real nice, Marijn, but how the hell do we make any money right now? So I'm not going to go through these in order. I'm going to show you some of our products and some of our projects as examples, and then hopefully you'll get these 4 points from it. Right. So a little bit of an intro. Uday did a great job, but like he said, we are very proud to count ourselves among the most award-winning agencies in Southeast Asia. And I run the company, I founded the company together with my partner, Dana, who obviously is the clever one in our team. She has an American background and studied computer science and aerospace engineering. And I'm more classically trained as a designer. So we have a very complementary skill set that's fun to apply to the projects we work on. Now, what we do, and this kind of ties into the first point that I'm trying to make, is not everything, but a lot. We do industrial design, branding, and lots more. And I think this is our main strength, and this is really what sets us apart in the Thai market. And ideally, the projects that we work on, we actually get to use all our skill sets and all our expertise on them to create a better end result. So I know that every single design studio says on their website, we're multidisciplinary, but they're not really. But a really good tip, if you want to get a foothold in the Thai market, is really be multidisciplinary. There is a big influx in entrepreneurs in this market that have a really good idea that they want to see come to life, but they don't have a factory. They don't really have the experience because they either quit their job or they got laid off from their job and they really want to make this happen now. And in order to help these people properly, you need to not just be able to say, okay, you know, I'll make your idea look good and present a product for you. You have to hold their hand and walk them through the entire process from conceptualization right up to market launch. So as an example, this is a wristband that dispenses sanitizing liquid. This is how it works roughly. There's a pump. I'm wearing one right now, if you can see my video. And it comes with a big pump, which serves as a refill station as well. Now, about a year ago, it was exactly what I just pointed out. There was an entrepreneur, he came to us, he had this idea and he's like, okay, I have this thing in my head, but I can't put it on paper. I can't visualize it. So he asked us to help us with that, which we did. We designed the product, the wristband, the bottle, and then we extended, we designed his brand, his packaging, and then went on to actually engineering the thing. It's a lot more complicated than we thought. and we prototyped the whole thing. And so instead of our Thai client having to hire all these different agencies, having different quotes, paying different people, he can all do it in-house, which not just guarantees a much better end result, it also makes him feel a lot better. We did the back and forth with the manufacturing. We even went so far as to have our engineers produce the jigs that the factory workers use to assemble the wristbands. And then we built his online presence. We designed and built the website and the e-commerce platform because a big part of this goes to charity. So we want to be able to control sales. So we build our own e-commerce platform so we can, have a better control of that. And then we were done. And we wanted to do marketing for this product, which is not our biggest expertise at the moment, but we still wanted to be able to do that in-house with our clients. So we hired a local firm with a great track record, Marijn, to work with us in visualizing our design in the best possible way. And working with creatives that really operate on the same wavelength as us is a great way, again, to achieve a really good end result. Now, I think let's say I'm a design firm in Singapore, I have 2 employees, and yeah, that sounds great. We want to be truly multidisciplinary, but how the hell do I do that? What I just said, find a partner. If you work in Singapore and you build websites, which is great, and then you get a request from a client, it's like, all right, we want a website, but we actually want you to design the product as well. Find a partner. And instead of having it all in-house, you can partner with people and tackle these problems. Second point, have a real in-depth process. Because design or branding is not just about a pretty logo. And I think there's a lot of clients that have experiences either with 99 Designs or Upwork, where they literally buy a logo for $5 and are unsatisfied with the results. So another opportunity for foreign firms to work in Thailand is to find businesses, foreign owned most of the times, but sometimes Thai, that are truly design driven. So Dots Coffee is a coffee shop that employs exclusively visually impaired or blind baristas. And instead of saying like, oh, look at the poor blind people, like they can function in society, say, no, our coffee is better because the baristas are blind. And that was something that really spoke to us as an agency. So we were very passionate to work with them, but it required a long and expensive process to get their brand story properly across. So we did their branding, we did their interior design, we engineered the whole thing. This is when it was built. So the logo, the 3 circles, is the letter D in Thai Braille. But then to give you a quick example of what, there's plenty of agencies, both in Thailand, but everywhere in the world, that say, okay, we can design a great logo for you, like in a week for 10,000 baht. That's not how you create good design. Dots Coffee was looking for a partner to find a way to properly communicate the story that they wanted to tell. So when we presented the 3 concepts for their logo to them, we actually 3D printed them so that the visually impaired people could get sort of a sense of where we were trying to take the company. And I think that's another great example, another opportunity of how to leverage your expertise in the Thai market is by saying, yes, we do take a long time. Yes, our process takes 4 months, and yes, we're expensive, but the end result will be a lot better. Another example within the same idea, This was for a client. I mean, obviously it's an air conditioning unit. And you know, it's easy to create great design. There's tons of people that can do it. What makes or breaks good design is how it looks between when you say to your client, okay, here you go, the design is done, and when it actually comes to market. It is always a compromise. The back and forth between engineering and design is really, really important. So initially, this is how we wanted the condensing unit to look. This is how it looks, you know, in the end, which is very, very different, but it still looks amazing. And a lot of agencies here would be presenting the design and then leaving it up to the client or up to manufacturing to get to the end result. Again, hold the hand of the client, walk with them through the entire process in order to create the best end results. Let's see if I missed something. I'll move on. 3, global appeal, bringing Thainess to the world. This is by far my favorite category or favorite point that I'm going to try to make today. So these are companies that, you know, it's second, third generation business owners. They take over from mom or dad. They have studied abroad in Europe or America or Australia or wherever, and they come back with a much more design-driven approach of running the company. So they would like to leverage hiring a design firm, whether it's Thai or foreign firm, and they understand the value that that brings, not just in designing the products, but also in the marketing materials, saying that something is designed by Designworks or by whomever. Index is a company that does that very well. They kind of took the IKEA approach where they wanted to use European design firms to sort of boost up their more high-end furniture line. There's another line with it for them. Another example of that, which is possibly my favorite client. So this is a Thai company that is so proud of their Thai aesthetic that they're like, no, we want to invest in taking this aesthetic and expanding it for a global audience. And they hired us to do it because it made sense to them that if you're working for a global audience, you should have a more with a global cultural background agency to do that for you. And so we had a lot of fun, like identifying Thainess and identifying Thai aesthetic, and modernizing it and putting into a line of products that I can't show because it's confidential, but we did this line of patterning and better bedding with it. And this is really, really fun to work on because besides the multidisciplinary aspect of it, these companies are really proudly Thai. They're not pretending to be from the US or Japanese like some other companies do here. They're like, no, we are investing in taking our aesthetic or in taking the Thai aesthetic abroad by using foreign firms. So another great opportunity there. All right, almost done. A couple of pitfalls. So we've had the opportunities. So what should you be careful? Let's say you land a great Thai client. How to navigate these. How to actually make sure that all the work you put in and all the designs that you make actually come to market. This is not actually just in Thailand. This happens all over the world. These are just some things that in the 4 years that we've been operating here, we've run into quite often. First, Harold. This is Harold, and Harold is a shy engineer. Harold says whatever designer comes up with, this is wonderful, this is fantastic. Can you make this? Yes, I can make this. Will this come out of the injection mold? This will absolutely come out of the injection mold perfectly. Don't worry, especially when his superior is in the room. There's no way that Harold's going to say, all right, I have some issues with this. I think this will present some problems. So some of the projects that we've done are stuck in the engineering phase for over 2 years, simply because the engineers won't say, like, this is impossible, or you have to change the design to make this easier. And so my tip is include the engineers, and don't just include them, but get them excited. From the very beginning, whenever we present even the earliest concepts, a lot of designers are afraid of the engineers because there's always the naysayers. They're like, yeah, it's difficult. Get them in the room and get them excited. We're designers. It's easy to present design. It's easy to sell design. Like, you show it to these engineers, it's important that they feel proud and pride of working on this project. It'll help you so much down the line. Number 2, get a proper design brief. A lot of companies are used to kind of like a design on the go approach. They hire a cheap firm and they're like, oh, we want a logo. No, 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 we don't want a logo. We want a website. No, we don't want a website. We want new packaging. In the end, you end up doing twice the work for half the money, and then you go out of business. Before you start anything, get a proper design brief. You're gonna have to make it yourself. That's fine. Sit down with the client, read between the lines, and make sure that you truly understand what it is that you actually want. Lastly, design for all the stakeholders. This is possibly the most important one. Remember, I talked about, you know, second, third generation business owners. I guarantee you that grandma who ran the company 30 years ago still has a lot of decision-making power. So even though you never meet grandma, you'll never get an email from grandma, if you present the design, she'll see it. And even if the guy you're talking to, your contact person, the guy who studied abroad in Amsterdam, perhaps, he loves it and he wants to move forward with it. If grandma doesn't like it, it's not going to come to market. Make sure, or at least do your best to find out who all the stakeholders are and try and design for all of them, not just for the young guy across the table. So, making money, like, please, right now, because it's COVID and we could all use it. It's kind of hard, but like my last slide and my takeaway, and I feel like I've touched this already. It's collaborating. It's working together as creative agencies. I know that COVID has us all boxed in and we can't move across borders and it sucks and we can't travel. But what COVID has also done is kind of taken down the communication barriers. Both clients and other agencies are very comfortable working over Zoom now. We're having this webinar over Zoom now. I usually stand up in front of an audience. The big opportunity here, which has actually already happened, we started working with a Japanese design firm who would be a competitor. They do exactly what we do, but they had a big client in Southeast Asia. They couldn't fulfill the contract because they couldn't travel. So they worked together with us to deliver this great end result. And I think that's the way to move forward. Find other creative agencies that are on the same wavelength as you and work together. It could work both ways. Like if somebody is in China and they have a product design client in Thailand, they could work with us, and then that would work the other way around as well. And I really think, at least in the near future, this is how we're gonna get through this as creative agencies together. For that. All right, that's it. If you want to know more, well, I think there's a question right now, but you can follow me on Instagram and send me some more questions there. And I hope this gave some good insights in how you could benefit from the Thai market at the moment.
Brilliant. Marijn, thank you so much. That was a brilliant and straight to the point insights on how to engage with not just clients in Thailand, but also with partners. So thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for your time as well. Everybody, we're almost to the end. What we would like to do now is do a very quick poll for all the attendees about the Business of Design program, as well as the Thailand market. So please look at your Zoom screens and go ahead and give us your poll there. We'll give you 1 minute. I think that should be good enough. While Zoom calculates these poll numbers, we will now have a few words from the Design Singapore Council team. So Mabel, why don't you share your slides and we can have a quick overview of the Business of Design program as well, and then we can conclude this session with our question and answer session.
Okay, hi, thanks Uday, and thanks everyone for taking the time to join us for today's webinar. So as Uday has mentioned, I'd like to take this opportunity to share a little bit more about the Business of Design program. So the BOD program aims to grow the export value of Singapore designs through building mindshare in both business to business and business to consumer markets around the world. This 2-year-long program will address targeted aspects of developing the capabilities of participating design firms. This includes mentorship, access to networks and brand storytelling, as well as to increase their competitiveness and demand on a global stage. The second run of the BOD program aims to generate new business opportunities for up to 8 to internationalize in markets such as Europe and Asia, including Japan and Southeast Asia. To grow businesses and propel them globally, the BOD program encompasses 3 key phases. The first phase, DSG will appoint a panel of in-market consultants to guide design studios and brands in their pitch to secure business opportunities overseas. The consultants will also connect them to relevant business circles while providing mentorship for follow-through. These business circles or leads include property owners and specifiers for those who are seeking commercial contract projects, brands and manufacturers for those who are seeking consultancy projects, and global or regional retailers and distributors for those seeking buyers. These consultants will be selected based on their networks and influence and are expected to have convertible business leads in these markets. The second phase of the program comprises participants potentially being provided funding to engage a brand strategy agency. This will help to enforce the perception of their brand, as well as to facilitate stronger for participating design firms. Lastly, the BOD program will culminate in a themed collective showcase at an established international showcase platform in 2022. Working with the in-market consultants, this approach will raise the international standing of Singapore design and interest buyers from target markets in Asia and Europe. To support interested design firms that are interested, they're keen to internationalize in understanding the commitment required to enter these markets, DSG is co-organizing a series of market entry webinars, including today's session, in addition to the BOD program. These webinars are also part of an ongoing effort to provide resources to the Singapore design community. The open call for BOD participants is currently open and will close on Thursday, 22nd April. Let me just run through quickly the eligibility and selection criteria for the BOD program. So in terms of the eligibility criteria, the applicant must be a Singapore registered design enterprise from any of the following fields: furniture and lifestyle product design studios, multidisciplinary design studios that incorporate furniture and lifestyle product design, as well as design-driven furniture and or lifestyle product brand owners. The lead applicant must also be a Singapore citizen or a permanent resident. The program prioritizes established design studios and brands which fulfill the following criteria: having a compelling and differentiated brand philosophy and aspiring towards good design, which impacts positively on the environment, culture, society, or the economy; having strong business fundamentals and being ready to scale up to meet international demand, and in doing so, the participant must, for example, operate with a sound business model and have sufficient resources to be able to scale through a network of production partners, for instance. Lastly, having a good understanding of the commitment required to enter a new market. So that's why we are having these series of webinars and also encouraging participants, potential applicants, to also attend these webinars for the markets that they're interested in. So I hope this sharing provides a good idea of what the Business Design program is about. Hand it back over to Uday.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Mabel, for that information. I'm pretty sure that the Singapore design firms will find that useful. I would also like to follow that up with just a very, very brief piece of information on Enterprise Singapore's grants. So if you're a Singaporean SME, whether you're a design firm or not, Enterprise Singapore offers something called the Market Readiness Assistance Grant. And this is to help companies internationalize. And usually from our experience, we see a lot of small to medium enterprises apply for this when they're looking to go to Thailand or enter the market like Vietnam, for example. So, don't be shy, reach out to the Enterprise Singapore team. You can get more information on the Enterprise Singapore website. I've put the link over there. And also, you have SME centers all across Singapore. So feel free to look at that link, semecenter-sicci.sg, and connect with your local SME center who can take you through that process for applying for a grant if you're looking to either collaborate with somebody in a different market or you're looking to start something in the region. So thank you for that. With that, we have finished our all the information that we want to provide to the audience, and I think we'll open the floor for question and answers. The interesting thing from the poll is that about 93% of you have voted, so that's great. The first question was, are you keen to apply for the Design Singapore Business of Design program? And about 36% of those who voted said yes, and 11 have said no. I believe there's half of you who are undecided, but I think if you have more information from the Design Singapore team, you might change your mind. And finally, our other question was, are you keen to enter the Thai market to do business? And we've got an overwhelming majority who said yes. Around 80% of our attendees have said they're very keen to enter the market. So very good to know that. And I hope this session has been insightful for everybody. Now we'll open this up for question and answers. And I will direct the questions to the different panelists. So I believe the first question today is for Kun Chutayaves, and the question is from Mr. Simon Yu. And the question is, how do the different geographic regions in Thailand actually differ to each other? So Kun Chutayaves, if you could answer that, or the other panelists as well, please feel free to pitch in there.
Sure. Culturally, also, geographically different, and also it's also different culturally. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
Basically, the central plain, it's what is kind of like known to the outside as what Thailand is. That's a very stereotype Thailand. And then the north region has a bit more influence from the Burmese and the Indian culture. Basically, even the rice in different regions we eat, it's different. The north eats sticky rice, while the central plain and the south eats more of the kind of like the white plain rice as we know. So, by different geography, its culture is very different. Even in the northeast itself, it's divided into two zones, kind of like the two basins, with a kind of like a mountain area in the middle that divided it. And that geography also makes different culture, like the northern basin, called Konakon Basin, has kind of like a salt as a native, so kind of like the salted fish, it's kind of like their main products there, which affect how they cook and how they behave and what they eat or what they grow. So it's a very widespread question. It's almost like, if I can compare it easily, it's like when we eat ramen in Japan, from one village to another. Sometimes if you are from an outsider, you don't know that it is different. But if you study it carefully, one village would maybe use the broth from the backbones, while the next village will use the broth from the leg bone only. That's also very true in Thailand, is that one village to another, the culturally is different, even though it's the Isan dialect, that they would speak in a slightly different tone. And that makes the design market slightly different. And what needs in certain region will be different from certain region. Me, mostly as an architect, when I work all over the country, in all over Southeast Asia, is that it takes a bit of time to really understand the culture, to be able to design the house that fits your client's specific needs carefully, and to fit it well, to fit their lifestyle. So you need to be a good observer, basically.
Great. Thank you so much for answering that. Simon, I hope we have answered your question. The next question is from Jerry, who asks to, I believe, all the panelists, could you please provide a list or some suggestions of outstanding design schools in Thailand, particularly in architecture, interior design, or product design? So maybe we can go one by one. Chutayaves, do you have any suggestions?
Well, Chulalongkorn, of course, is a big one. For architecture school, I think if you want to become a thinker, the India program that I taught is probably the best program there. You won't come out knowing how to design a building, but you will come out knowing, what the kind of like the edge of the architecture research is at the moment. And I would suggest that you go to get your master's at, Columbia or Yale, or something a bit more practical,
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And how about you, Marijn or Sarinrath? Anything on interior design or product design? Any specific suggestions for institutions in Thailand?
Yeah, I think, well, I think the best design schools in the world have a habit where the teachers are actual professionals. They have their own studio, they're famous teachers 4 days a week, and then they teach 1 day a week. Very practical, giving hands-on lectures on not just how to design, but also how to sell design, and right up until how do you file patent registration. I think that there's a lot of design schools in Thailand that are great, that some of the designers that work on our team have been to. I think a much more important factor in choosing a design school is, the classes that you elect. There's some ways some things that you can focus on while you're in school, whether it's model building or branding, or I really want to do product design, but I also want to do UX. I think it's up to the student to kind of carve out their own curriculum beyond what is offered in Thailand in a more conservative way.
Perfect, thank you. Anything to add there, Sarinrath, from an interior design perspective?
No, not really. I agree with both.
Great. Thank you so much. I think we have a final question here from Stanley Yap, and he's directing this towards Chutayaves. Chutayaves, could you please elaborate on the need for technology and innovation in the Thai industry? Any specific examples? Stanley further says, for Singaporean design firms or advertising firms interested in entering the Thai market, can we approach CEA directly for advice, or if yes, who should we write into?
So I think Thai companies don't spend enough on R&D. I mean, let's be honest with that. And I think that the lack of R&D make us weak in technologies. So, it's a very broad technology needs really that needs to be, kind of like that we need assistance in Thailand. All our heavy industries are from adapt technologies. Basically, we have car assembly factory, but we don't have our own car company. That's slightly changed at the moment with electric cars, that there are Thai companies who are trying to innovate and invent their own technologies into this new kind of like frontier. Though, of course, being, kind of like the new sort of business trend, even for large corporation in Thailand. We already, 20 years behind, let's say, Tesla or, even some Chinese company. And so, that sort of, to be specific, the biggest thing I think you can enter Thailand right now probably has to do with this mobility issue. There will be a lot of money invested in that industry for the next, 10 years. And when we talk about big money, of course, it's still very small compared to what you would get in the Northeast, from the US or from, European investment or even Chinese investment. So, but that business is definitely starting. For Singaporean design advertising firm into Thai market, yes, you can directly contact CEA. I think the best way to do it is to contact via our info email. So it's info@cea.or.th, and then your questions will be directly to the right person via that information. It's very actively answered. So that would be the best email to contact.
Great, thank you so much, Stanley. I hope that has answered your question. Everybody, I think we are now at the end of our session. We've gone 20 minutes overboard, so thank you everybody for staying online. If you have any other questions, please do write into us or the Design Singapore Council team, and then we can pass it on to our panelists and speakers here. Dear speakers, Sawasdee krap, Khap khap.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, before we go, one final thing. Please do scan this QR code. This is for the attendees. This is a post-webinar survey. So please do scan this and give us your give the Design Singapore Council your feedback. Mabel and team, if you have any final words to say, please go ahead. Otherwise, we can wrap up the session.
No, thanks everyone for attending the webinar today, and thank you to the speakers as well. Thank you.
Great. Marijn, thank you very much.
Hey guys.